but I am thrilled to officially kick off tonight's program and welcome everyone to It's More Than Just Teeth, a Communications webinar. Tonight's webinar is sponsored by ASDA's Career Compass and our friends at Heartland Dental. I'm Kendra Johnson, the Senior Manager of Sponsorships and Programs, and I'm one of the staff members that work at ASDA's headquarters office in Chicago. Before we get started, just a few quick reminders and announcements. All attendees are muted, and a reminder to remain muted on your end so that we don't pick up any background noise during the program. The webinar will be recorded and posted on our website, as well as emailed to everyone who participates tonight and registers for the webinar. ASDA launched Career Compass in April of 2017 to help prepare students for graduation and to transition to the first step in their dental career. The website has resources for graduation, different career options, post-grad programs, getting a job, and financial and practice management. We will hold monthly webinars like tonight on topics that will help you as you begin your dental career. ASDA will continue to develop additional programs and resources for Career Compass and work with experts in the field, such as Heartland Dental, to provide valuable content. During the program, we welcome any questions you have of our presenters. You will notice a control panel on the right side of your screen. Please type in any questions into this question chat feature anytime during tonight's program. Our presenters are ready to take these questions in the order that they are submitted after the presentation concludes. We will also provide contact information for the presenters, so feel free to reach out to them individually and ask them your questions. They're ready for you. And now I would like to happily turn over tonight's presentation to our friends at Heartland Dental. Sarah, I think you might still be on mute.
Oh, I sure was. I was trying to be so polite, but I was just talking away to myself. Thanks, Kendra. Oh, man.
Hi, Sarah.
Off to a great start. Thanks, Dr. Bloink. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for your already immediate grace and patience. My name is Zara Thomas. I work with Heartland Dental. I am a leadership training developer for the company. I actually started with the company 8 years ago, straight out of college myself as a business assistant. I basically graduated college, did not know what to do with my degree, needed a job and had some student loans to pay off, and fell into a dental career. So what I thought would be a stopover, just working at the front desk until I figured my life out, has turned into an 8-year and counting career. My family it's short and sweet. You'll see on the screen that's myself and my husband. We also have 4 pets. It makes me look like a little bit of a crazy cat lady to put them all on the screen, so I just put our photo up. You guys will probably recognize the graduation garb. My husband is a dentist, and he is supported by Heartland Dental. So hopefully my goal here today is to give you the perspective of someone who grew up in this company and grew up in the dental field as a team member. But I also get to bring a unique perspective, hearing from the dental side, the doctor side from my husband, and experiencing that through my partnership with Dr. Bloink and many other doctors we support here as well. My husband and I live in Phoenix, Arizona. And like I said, we have 4 pets, so they keep us plenty busy. And I am just super excited to be here with you. This is my favorite topic when we go beyond the teeth and talk about talking and listening. And so I'll quit talking and kick it over to my friend, Dr. Bill Bloink, so that he can introduce himself as well.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody. My name is Bill Bloink. I am a practicing dentist in Springfield, Illinois. There's my family. I used to be the tall one in my family. I can no longer lay claim to that. That's my youngest son, who's a senior to be at IU over in Bloomington, Indiana, and that's my daughter-in-law, Molly, next to him. My oldest son, Gus, who just last summer graduated from dental school and joined our practice as the 5th doctor in our practice. He's doing great, and we're just super excited to have him. My daughter Abby, and that's my wife Cheryl. I'm actually I practice in Springfield, Illinois, and the name of my practice is the Dental Group of Springfield. You can Google that and check out our practice. But I'm joining you tonight from Atlanta, Georgia, where we're getting ready to spend the weekend with 350 Heartlanders, and I'm just honored to be able to share my thoughts about leadership and communications with them, and I'm just tickled to death to be able to spend a little bit of time with you this evening. Oh my gosh, Sarah, where did you find that picture? You know,
I just keep it. I always keep it on hand. You never know.
Oh my gosh, that was a long time ago. You know, as some of you may have read on the very opening slide, I am the founding partner of Heartland Dental. I was Dr. Workman, who is our founder. I was his first partner, and that picture was taken in the mid 1980s when I first got out of dental school and moved to Effingham and joined him. And at the time, it was just Dr. Workman, myself, and one other doctor at that time, and 12 team members. And so I've seen it grow from that all the way to where we are today, where we support 1,500 dentists across the country, along with 10,000 team members. So it's been quite a journey. It's been really exciting. We're just really excited about the future. So that was obviously before the advent of hair product for men, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on with my orange hands down there too. That was like an Olin Mills studio. That's a long time ago. So yeah, let's move on from that one.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, let's just keep that one moving. Oh golly. Well, you know, the first thing that I wanted to share with you folks is the real reason why we're here. And I know that many of you, or all of you, are dental students right now at various levels of your education, and you're spending a lot of time, and you're spending all your time on learning the technical aspects of our work. And while that is incredibly important, and you must become a master of those parts of our work, the reality of it is that 15% of the success of a dental practice comes from the technical ability of the doctor and his or her team members. Fully 85% of the success of a dental practice comes from how you are able to relate not just to your patients, but also how you relate and communicate with the team members who choose to work with you and who choose to support you. And you know, we get mistaken very often, and I know that we as a profession get mistaken quite a bit in thinking that it's all about teeth, and we just need to know all the latest and greatest materials and all the latest and greatest techniques and equipment and all that stuff. And please don't mistake, that's very important. We need to know that aspect of our job. But the reality of it is that the most successful dentists and the most successful dental practices create an atmosphere within that practice that people just gravitate towards, and people want to help your practice move forward. And that's all about communications and how you build relationships with people. And so the first thing that I want to share with you this evening is I would encourage you to go to YouTube, whether this evening after we say goodbye or sometime this weekend. I would encourage you to jump on YouTube and go check out a video by a fellow named Simon Sinek. His last name is spelled S-I-N-E-K. and look for his Begin with Why video. It's a video that's been out for 8 or 9 years. It absolutely, the first time that I saw it, it absolutely changed the course of not just my practice's direction, but the course of my life, and beginning to start to realize why it was that I was in and doing what it is that I believed in. You know, most companies or Simon Sinek, he calls this the golden circle that you see there on the screen. The outermost circle is the what, followed by the how and the why. And you know, we're going to talk about dentistry, obviously, and every dentist in America knows what it is that they do. We take care of, you know, we do fillings, we do crowns, we do extractions, root canals, dentures, all the stuff that we do. Every dentist in America knows what we do. Hopefully, all those dentists also know how to do it. And so, but very few dentists realize why it is that they do what they do. So most dentists, if you were to say, tell me about why you became a dentist, most dentists would say something like this. You know, I wanted to be a really good dentist. I wanted to have the best dental practice in my community. And I was going to do that by taking all the best CE. I was going to use the best materials. I was going to learn all the latest and greatest techniques. And I was going to do that because I just want to be a quality dentist. And the reality of it is that's how 95% of dentists think. And the reality of it is it doesn't inspire a whole lot of folks to move forward and to take action, whether that be patients or whether it be your team members. The most inspired dentists, the dentists that have the most successful practice and the most stable team members, think from the inside out. So the most stable teams start to talk about their why, and that's all because the doctor leader of the practice begins to share their why. So if you were to ask me why I do what I do and what my dental practice stands for, you would hear something like this. I believe that team members deserve to work in an environment that's encouraging, that's inspiring, that's safe, that values their opinions and values what it is that they do every day. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to create that environment by working on myself and learning as much as I can about leadership and communication, because I want to create an environment that provides all those things for my team members. And you know what? I have this really cool dental practice in Springfield, Illinois, and we'd be happy to take care of whomever chooses us. And so you see, from working from the inside out, from the why to the what, changes the whole narrative of what you're providing for people. Yeah, we fix teeth, but we do much more than just fix teeth. And we're creating an atmosphere in our practice where people feel really good about themselves when they come to see us. I would encourage you to Google our practice as the Dental Group of Springfield in Springfield, Illinois, and check out our Google reviews. We have about 350 Google reviews, and see what it is our patients say about us. And I think what you'll find is our patients say, wow, those people are really caring about what it is they do. They're a lot of fun, because we have a lot of fun in our practice, and they just take great care of us. And it's not necessarily because we're the best dentist in town, although we do a really good job. And for myself personally, I would tell you that I am an average dentist at my very best. I'm a B dentist at my very, very best. I know how to get the brown stuff out, and I know how to get the white stuff to stick and to make it look good. But our practice has has evolved into what it has evolved into because of our why and because of our ability to touch people and to meet people where they are, so that when they come to see us, they feel like they've had an experience that they've never had before. And to me, when you're able to do that and you're able to inspire team members to be the best version of themselves by working hard on yourself, they then in turn take great care of our patients, and our patients then become the ultimate benefactor of that thought process. Zara, do you have anything more to add to that?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I would definitely really encourage all of you to look that video up. It's huge. It can really just set you on the right path for your career, but also just in life. And so what's so amazing about thinking about how you communicate and thinking about your why. Identifying your why is step one, right? And then how are you communicating that? How are you showing up every day in your practice and in the world and being an example of your why, of helping those moms and dads and kids and patients that you have on your team? And as patients, how do you show up? Do your actions reflect your why? Because that we know actions speak so much louder than our words. And again, you'll notice on Dr. Bloink's website, the best offices have reviews that are talking about the way that you make people feel when they're in your practice. There are very few, if any, reviews on there that say, Dr. Bill Bloink did the perfect crown with the best margin I've ever seen in my entire life. Patients don't know that. They know that it feels good to them. They're no longer in pain, or they're not in pain. And they know that they've been taken care of. But what makes a difference for them is that they were treated like a person. They were connected with. And so that's really what this is all about. We know that you are all going to school and getting a great education on how to take care of the teeth. And that is important, like Dr. Bloink said. But beyond that, how do you connect with people? And how do you set yourself apart? From a business standpoint, how do you set yourself apart? And it's the way you make people feel. So the why, that's definitely a big part of why we do what we do and how we try to share that message. So that's definitely something we'll be talking about here today together, how to uncover your why, and then how can you begin to communicate that. Also talking about your leadership style and how it relates to the way that you communicate with your current patients, if you're seeing patients, but the way that you communicate with your future patients, but also your future team members, just really acknowledging what a difference it can make when you are able to connect with those team members that Dr. Bloink has been talking about as well. These are people that you are going to spend a lot of time with every single day, week, month, year. So what can you do to really cultivate that relationship? And how do you need to show up as a leader in order to be able to do that? So your personality type and the way that you communicate and connect has a lot to do with the way that you connect with your patients. So what is your personality type? How do you come across to people and patients? And so that's something we want to share with you here, a tool that we utilize here with Heartland Dental, and that's called DISC. And this is something that you can go online and find more information about. So if you want to take the personality test and really dig into where you fall or where your loved ones fall, you can definitely do that by going online and really just Googling DISC personality test. This is our specific, our preferred version of personality testing that we use because it's very approachable, it's accurate, and ultimately it helps us connect with patients. But there are a lot of different personality testing types out there. There's Myers-Briggs, you've got colors, there's so many out there. So this is our preferred venue, the one that we use to help us connect. The reason that we do this, the reason we spend so much time talking about personality types for ourselves, but also identifying personality types of our patients, it really, again, it helps us connect, but it helps me and it helps you to increase your own self-awareness and your self-knowledge of how you're communicating, what's your intention, what are you trying to say, but how is it being received? Because we've all been in a situation before where we have a really great intended message and it doesn't quite go across as well as we would like it to. And oftentimes that's because of different personality styles and types and ways of communicating. So when you have that self-awareness and knowledge, you can then adapt and really customize the way you communicate with those around you. It's going to allow you to improve your working relationships, again, with your team members. When you are able to customize the way you communicate in a way that makes sense to them, they're going to be on board. They're going to have clarity. They're going to want to do everything they can to help to take care of patients. And that's our goal, to be able to take the best possible care of patients. It's also going to make your team more productive. When we've been clear and when you've been able to connect with them, they're going to be able to be more productive as a team. There's also less time spent on bickering, confusion, and drama because of the way that you're communicating as a leader, and then the way that your team members are also communicating with one another. From a case acceptance standpoint, helping patients understand the value of the treatment, you're going to see patients more readily ready to accept the treatment that you're recommending. Not because you found the perfect words or you've upped your technical skills, but because you have connected in a way that makes sense to them. So the way that you would maybe communicate to a fellow doctor who needs a crown is hopefully very different than the way that you would communicate with a patient who hasn't been to the dentist in 20 years. So it's really customizing your communication. Overall, this is going to help you be more knowledgeable, more well-rounded, and ultimately a highly effective leader in your practice and in your community. So we want to share a little bit with you about this, what these different personality types are, how you can begin to identify where you might land or those around you might land, and how you could do this fairly quickly, because you can't tell everybody to go Google this and then come back and tell you what disc type they are. You've got to be able to kind of figure it out as you're talking to them. So you'll see on the screen the different personality types. And so the first one is the D personality type. And this person really places emphasis on accomplishing results or a goal. They really like focusing on the bottom line. They are confident. They are clear. They know what they want. And so this patient will tell you whether or not they like your practice, right? They're going to tell you, I'm not coming back here, or I'm happy here. Whatever the case may be, a D personality, you always know where you stand with them. Now, an I personality, this person is your influencer. They are often the life of the party. They want things to feel good, but they also want them to look good. They're great at building relationships, and they're also great referral sources for your office, because if you treat them right, they're going to tell all their friends. They want to send people to you. Your S personalities, this person places emphasis on cooperation, sincerity, dependability. They like consistency. They want to know that when they walk in your door that they're in a safe place. They're not going to be judged. And again, just that they know that you know what you're doing. They love feeling safe and secure. Your C personalities, now these personality types are big on quality. They're big on accuracy, details. This patient's going to go straight for your wall of brochures. They want the information, and they need that information to be able to move forward. This person is going to ask you more questions than your other personality types, and that's a way for them to understand the world that they're in, but also understand any treatment that you're potentially presenting to them as well. So a quick way to start to identify where do I fall or where do your patients fall. Your D and I personalities tend to be more extroverted, and along with that, they tend to tell you things. They tell you, I want to make an appointment. I need to come in. My crown fell off. I want to come in this afternoon. Now, a C or an S personality, they tend to be more introverted, and they tend to ask you more questions. Can I come in this afternoon? Are you accepting new patients? And so they're just going to naturally ask you more questions. And so that's a really great way to quickly narrow it down by about 50%. Just thinking about your last interaction with someone, did they tell you more or did they ask you more questions? I and S personalities tend to be more people focused, and D and C personalities tend to be more task focused. And this is just where people tend to fall naturally. This is not to say any of these personalities are better than the other, but you can also see how based on the asking and the telling and the people and the tasks and thinking about all the things that go on in an office, it's really important that you have a good mix of personality types. That's going to help you be really successful, to your patients, to get your tasks done. But that also means that you have a mix of people you have to communicate with, a lot of people who maybe communicate in a different way than you do. So again, quick way to start to figure out where do I fall and how am I communicating with people. Your D personalities make up 10 to 15% of the population. So when you think about our population as a whole, 10 to 15% tend to be D personalities, 10 to 15% tend to be I personalities, and 10 to 15% tend to be C personalities. Now, 60 to 70% tend to be S personalities, meaning they are more people focused and they tend to ask you more questions, but they're also more introverted. And the reason that this is important to highlight is because the D, the C, and the I personalities have some pretty specific and maybe louder characteristics that are often easier to pinpoint. They asked me a lot of questions and needed a lot of detail. They were laughing and cracking jokes and wanted to have fun in the office, or they were really straightforward. Those are easy to pinpoint. The S personality can often be harder to identify. And so there is a lot of lost opportunity in connecting with S personality patients and people because we just aren't aware. We don't have the awareness that what's important to them is not the laughing in the office or the details of the brochures. It's feeling safe, comfortable, and confident in your care. And so that's really important for us to remember as we think about communicating with patients and again with your team members as well. Okay, so we love to have fun with DISC personality types and to think about how they really show up in the world. And so imagine you are walking up to an elevator. I think it's up there now. Okay, so imagine you have walked up to an elevator. So what do these personality types look like out in the real world? Well, your D personality steps onto the elevator and immediately pushes the button of the floor that they need, and they also push that close button. They want the doors to close immediately. Now, your I personality catches up, gets into the elevator, says hi to the D personality, and then holds the door because they see other people coming down the hallway and they don't want anybody to miss the elevator. Your S personality runs down the hallway to catch the elevator and apologizes for making everybody else have to wait for them. And then your C personality steps onto the elevator, gets out their phone and starts calculating the max weight that's allowed on the elevator because they're just not sure you guys are all going to make the cut. Now, obviously, hopefully you guys know that's an extreme version, but like I said, we like to have fun with this because it is interesting. Once you learn about these different personality types, it's fascinating to think about how they show up in the world and how we have so many miscommunications with each other. Simply because we're speaking a different language. What is important to me is different than what's important to Dr. Bloink and is different from the next person. And so we have to really think about how we can customize that communication. So if you would take a moment and just think about, for you, where do you think you would fall from a DISC personality standpoint? And I'll actually click back to our last slide so you guys can see the little clues to get you started.
You know, Zara, while people are doing that, you know, I just want to add that one of the most powerful aspects of learning about my DISC personality was learning not just what my strengths were and the things that helped me to move forward in my life, but it was also really important to me to learn about the things that challenge me and the things that I need help with. And you know, my personality, I tend to I'm an I type personality with a little bit of S mixed in there as well. And so I desperately need people in my life who keep me moving forward. I need someone who's a D personality, who's very task focused, because I can tend to start just wandering around through my day. I need someone who stays on task and helps me to stay focused on what we're trying to do. I tend to be a fella who is a ready, fire, aim kind of guy as well. And so I need people in my life who are analytical and people who help me focus. And so I need C personalities in my life to help me aim and to stay on target to help me analyze and collect data and to help me make better decisions. And so it's really important that as you're going through the DISC personality types, that you realize the things that can help you move along as well.
Absolutely. And so there are ways, again, please go online, find out more about your personality type. It's a great resource for you in dentistry, but again, in your life. So many of the tools that are our favorites in Heartland Dental don't just affect your practice and the way that you function as a dentist and as a leader, but really make your life better. They make your relationships better with those that you love and care about. And this is definitely one of those tools that if you decide, I don't want this in my practice, if you use it, it's going to help. But if you use it, it's also going to help in your personal life as well in being able to make those connections. Dr. Bloink, would you kind of marry the two together for us, the why and the DISC personality types, and how do you really, all these tools and resources, how do you get them together?
You bet. You know, one of the responsibilities that we have as dentists in our practices is we also have to be the leaders of our practice. And I want to share a couple of thoughts about leadership and how that ties into communication, because I want everyone to understand that leadership is absolutely a burden. It's difficult to be an effective leader, but the reality of it is that the folks who learn to lead best get rewarded massively. And so it's incredibly important to always continue to work on your leadership. Your team members absolutely need us to do that. As I shared with you earlier, we have 5 doctors in our practice, and we are fortunate enough to be supported by over 30 team members in our practice, and some of whom are single moms, some of whom are newlyweds who have just taken on their first mortgage obligations. And those folks absolutely rely on us every single day to be our very best and to help lead them. And I really think that we as doctors, we have an obligation to not just serve our patients. And make no mistake, our patients are incredibly important, and we are obligated to take care of them at the highest level. But I also believe that we have an obligation to care for or care about our team members just as much as we care about our patients. And our team members absolutely need us to work on these things and to marry the two between our why and what we discover and describe as our why, along with mastering the DISC profiles or the personality profiles. And so it's incredibly important to not just our team, but because then they can go out and become advocates for our patients. It's important that we inspire them and create an atmosphere that fosters a sense of trust and fosters safety and all those things that team members vitally require. And that to me is the biggest aspect of my work today, is to create an atmosphere that people feel respected and people feel trusted, and that has to go with my why as to why we do what we do, along with understanding the DISC profiles of all of our team members, so that I can communicate with them, and they then in turn can communicate with our patients at the highest level, so that our patients who choose to come and see us get the treatment that they want, need, and deserve. So there's a couple of things, and we spend an entire weekend, and we're giving you guys a very abbreviated version of the course that we're teaching this weekend here in Atlanta. But there's a couple of things that I think that I can share with you that you can start using tomorrow if you're in your clinic tomorrow, or certainly as you move forward in your dental career. I want you to think about what patients want most from their dental care. And the reality of it is that people want things to look good, they want them to feel good, and they want them to last a long time. And so if you want to be a true advocate for your patient, you're going to focus on those three things. What can I do for my patients that's going to look the best? What can I do that's going to last the longest? And what's going to feel great to the patients? So when Mrs. Smith comes in with a toothache, and Mrs. Smith got a couple of young kids at home, and she didn't sleep last night, when Mrs. Smith comes into our practice, you would hear my team members say something like this to Mrs. Smith. They'd say, Mrs. Smith, you know, you made a great decision coming in today, and I'm really glad that you're here. And listen, I've got some great news for you. Doctor has time in his schedule to get that infected or the infection out of your tooth, so that the tooth can be saved. Then he's going to build that tooth back up, secure it with a beautiful porcelain crown. It's going to look great, it's going to feel great, and it's going to last you a long time, Mrs. Smith. And you know what the best news is? The best news is that you're going to be able to sleep tonight, because I know how important it is for you to take care of your small children. And isn't that a whole lot different when you start talking to people at that level, as opposed to saying, Mrs. Smith, you need a root canal? And you see how Mrs. Smith responds to that. And we're talking to folks at an emotional level, and we're helping people to feel better about the decisions that they've made to come and see us. We want to give people hope. We want to give people a sense of, you know, we're going to take great care of you, and you're going to get a chance to do what's most important in your life. And if you can start talking to people at that level, then I promise you, your odds of success in your practice go way up. So I want you to start talking to folks on an emotional level, because we as dentists, quite frankly, we tend to talk in a lot of technical jargon. We'll talk about the benefits of a crown and what a crown is. Well, Mrs. Smith, you know, a crown is made out of milled zirconium, and it's incredibly strong, and the shear strength is this, and the compressive strength is all that. And patients, you can just see patients just glaze over, because they have no idea what it is that we're talking about. When we start to talk to people, or talk with people and share with people how it can change their life getting their dental treatment done, it is an amazing thing to watch patients move forward in the treatment plan. So always keep in mind, it's gonna look great, feel great, it's gonna last you a long time. The second thing that I want to share with you tonight is how we close our patients and get everyone ready to move forward in treatment. And I want you to remember this statement. Mrs. Smith, do you see any good reason why we shouldn't get started with treatment today? Mrs. Smith, do you see any good reason why we shouldn't get started with your treatment today? And you know, people are absolutely amazed every single day in our practice that we use the word today. You would be amazed at how many folks want to get started with their dental treatment when they are there in the practice. And the reality of it is, our patients are there, we're there. Why wouldn't we get started? Everybody's there. You know, our patients have made arrangements at work. They've taken off time of work, or they've got childcare arrangements made. Let's face it, they worked up the guts to come see us. So they're there, we're there. Why wouldn't we? So start talking to folks about, on an emotional level, using their DISC personality types and the things that are most important to them, and then ask them if they want to get started with treatment today. And what you'll find is that more and more people are going to say yes to the treatment that they need. You'll inspire your team members to be advocates for your patients. Your team members are going to feel better about the work that they do. They're going to feel better about you as a doctor. Your patients will feel better about your practice, all because you just made a shift in how you are thinking and how you are relating to people, from a technical position to an emotional position. And when you can do that, I promise you, that your practice will absolutely take off. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. And one of the things that Dr. Bloink mentioned is really thinking about customizing the way you're communicating and what you're communicating about to what your patient is sharing with you. And so one of the other tools, our last tool that we really want to share with you that, again, will help you as a dentist, but it's just going to help you as a human to be a more effective human in this world. And that is your skills in listening. And I think many of us sometimes have a misconception that we think we're a great listener, and that's because we have the intention of being a great listener. And oftentimes we simply aren't. And part of that is because of the world that we live in. We have a lot of things going on around us at any given time, whether that's people walking by, phones ringing, text coming through, just so many things that are going on. And so one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to really think about and consider how you are as a listener. And so there are 3 types of listening that we want to talk about, and hopefully you'll be able to pinpoint where you tend to fall naturally in your current ability to listen to people, again, patients or team members, your spouse. How are you listening to those around you? So the first one is listening about, the second one is listening for, and the third one is listening to. Now, when you are listening about, what this looks like is that you aren't really a fully active participant in the conversation. Possibly you're overhearing a conversation, but you may also be just fading in and out. Maybe you're texting and you're also trying to have a conversation, but you can't really remember exactly what they said. Or maybe you're watching TV with someone and you're trying to listen, but also hear what's going on in the show. And so listening about it's a big struggle because we, again, are just bombarded by so many things in the world, and we all want to be multitaskers. But the reality is that you really can't truly multitask and give everything 100%. Something has to lose. And so if you're listening about, again, you're kind of in and out, you're distracted, you're not really able to fully engage and hear what your patient is saying. If you're listening about with a patient, maybe you're thinking about what room you need to go in next for treatment, or maybe the patient is telling you that they really want whitening, but you're focused on a tooth that you see that needs a filling. And so she's telling you about why she wants whitening and how much she wants to whiten her teeth, why she wants to whiten them, but you're not hearing her because she is telling you, or she, in your mind, all you've got to do is just get her to see that she needs that filling. And so it's taking the time to really listen and engage fully, because if you take her desire, the thing that she wants, which is whitening, and marry it together with what you have diagnosed as the most urgent need, it's going to help her get that filling done quicker so she can get to the whitening, so she can get to what she is looking for. The second type is listening for, and this one is one that many of us are guilty of because we all love to talk about us. It's everybody's favorite topic. And when you're listening for, really what you're listening for is your turn to talk. And so if you are really just listening for your turn to jump in, you're playing this verbal double dutch, you're not really listening. You're just listening for a pause. You've already made up your mind. You've already made a decision, and you're just waiting for your turn. My goodness, turn is the struggle word for me tonight. Your turn to give your opinion or your diagnosis or your thought. And so this one is dangerous for us because we are, again, just not engaging. And when you butt in and you say, I hear you, but, then your patient, all they hear is, you didn't hear a single thing that I said. You're not listening to me. You don't actually care about what I want to have done or what I'm saying to you. Now, the last type, the best type, and the type that we're all working on is listening to. And when you are listening to, you are fully engaged in the conversation. You're making eye contact. You are fully present. You're reading between the lines. You're asking clarifying questions. This is the truest and most sincere form of listening. And this is the number one way to show people that you respect and care about them. And it also builds trust. So just by being a great listener, you're building trust with your patient so that when it is your turn to talk, they're going to be much more likely to believe what you're saying and to trust what you're saying because you have really shown them undivided attention and listened to them. Patients are going to open up much more and even share potential objections with you if they feel that they can trust you. And listening really is one of the best ways to do that. And if you look at studies and if you poll the room, I bet if you asked any friends, you know, what are the things that the best leaders in your life did really well, 9 times out of 10, listening is in the top 3 because it is that important. The way that we listen to people just really shows how much we care about them and takes us out of the equation. It's not about us, it's about that person. And so if you think about the way that you're listening or the way that you're communicating right now, if we aren't listening to the patients, oftentimes what will happen is you as the doctor step out of the room, and as soon as you step out, the patient looks up to the dental assistant or to the hygienist and says, what did he say? What did she say? Because you didn't hear them, right? And so they're like, all right, so I got to try with somebody else, probably the person who's been spending all that time with them. And so if there's nothing else you do, make sure you take the time to think about how are you at your listening skills, and be brutally honest. Because again, I think many of us like to think we're great listeners, but it is something that many of us really do struggle with.
And it is something as leaders, it is the greatest gift that you can provide to not just your patients and your team members, but to the people who are most important to you in your life, is to be a terrific leader. And again, you're creating an atmosphere where people feel like they're being heard and they're being respected. And when you can achieve those things, I promise you, not just will you have a great dental practice, you're going to have a great life by working on yourself and working on the skills that help you become the best version of yourself. So as we're getting close to the end now, what are some things that you can do today to start yourself on your journey about being a better communicator and being a better leader? The first thing that I would encourage you to do is to figure out your why and what motivates you to be a great dentist, and what drives you forward. You know, and I want you to think from the inside out. It's not just about, you know, you want to provide a good living for your family. It's not just about that you want to be a leader in your community. It's not just about you want to be a business person who can make great decisions to help determine your own self-destiny. You know, think about your why and what motivates you and drives you, and what's most important to you as a human being, and always speak true to that. The second thing you can do is as Zara was sharing with you, is dig deeper into disc profile. Go online and check out the resources that you can find and that you can utilize to learn more about yourself and to learn more about the people who are in your life. And then the third thing is to be a patient advocate. And we at Heartland, we do a lot of role playing with one another in our team meetings. We go over patient scenarios that we encounter every single day, and we role play those situations. And it's almost like an actor in a play, and you learn what your cues are and what you're looking for. And so role play with your buddies in your class, and if you have a spouse or significant other, you know, role play with them and learn how to communicate to different personality styles. So, you know, those are the things that you can start doing today to help you on your journey. Zara, I know I can speak for Zara. We're just absolutely tickled to be able to have been with you. You guys can do it. Remember that the technical part of your job is just a very small part of your job, and 85% of your success is going to come from how you're going to relate to human beings. So we'd like now to open the line up for any questions. We've got a few moments left, and Zara and I will be happy to answer anything that you might be thinking right now.
Thanks so much, Dr. B. And yes, we are ready to jump into Q&A. So I will be monitoring the incoming questions from our attendees on tonight's webinar. So of course, if you have any questions, please enter them in, and we will have our presenters available to answer any of your questions. And of course, as we mentioned, their contact information is available, and they are happy to connect with you all privately, and maybe after you've had some time to digest all of this wonderful information, certainly feel free to reach out to our speakers and ask them any questions that you might have. But we'll go ahead and we'll give it just a couple minutes to see if anyone has any questions. Of course, if there are no questions, it always means that the presenters did an excellent job of covering all the important things at tonight's presentation.
That's nice of you to say. Do you have any questions, Zara? Did anything come across?
I do. I have one. So, Dr. Bloink, I think this would be for you. How do you deal with conflicts as a leader in your practice? So if you have that, whether it's disgruntled team members or just how would you handle that?
Well, you know, conflict is a reality of life, and learning how to deal with conflict is a really important aspect to our work as leaders. You know, my role, again, as I shared with everybody, we have 5 doctors in our practice and 30 team members, so there's 35 of us, you know, and we occasionally have conflict amongst each other. The reality of my role as the leader of our practice is I don't get involved in every single conflict, but my job as the leader is to create an atmosphere, is to create a culture where people feel safe enough and people feel valued enough to move towards the issue so they can solve issues together. And I want to inspire my team members to learn how to do that. I would tell you, I learned a ton about that by reading a book by a fellow named Patrick Lencioni. I believe it's Lencioni. And the name of that book is The Ideal Team Player, or The Ideal Team Member. That book was absolutely instrumental to me in learning about how to be a great leader. So I'd encourage everybody to go pick that up. You can grab that on Amazon, easy.
Yep. And the only thing that I would add to that is just thinking about the golden circle that Dr. Bloink talked about. It's not about the what, it's really thinking about the why. And when the relationships are present between your team members and the trust is there, and you know that if there is conflict, it's healthy conflict that helps us get to the other side and it helps us grow, you will find, one, that there is much less conflict, but you will also find, like Dr. Bloink said, they're able to work through it at a much better pace and with much less assistance because they genuinely care about one another. And again, that is the difference maker. It's not the perfect tool of handling conflict, it's building those relationships. We have another one, Dr. Bloink. I wanted to know what would be one good hobby to get into while in dental school.
Well, you know, I have lots of hobbies. I would tell you to do whatever makes you happy. One of the things that we talk about at Heartland is life balance. And learning how to balance our work life and our regular life. And we are absolutely, and it's been this way for as long as I've been involved with Dr. Workman, we are absolutely a work hard, play hard company. But I would encourage you to do whatever you feel like brings balance to your life. You know, one thing I wish I would have done much earlier on, I wish I would have read more about self-help and those type of things, like the book I shared with you about Patrick Lencioni. I wish I would have done that when I was younger. I wish I would have picked that up as a hobby, because that starts to give me better life skills. I pass those life skills on to my family members. I pass those life skills on to my team members to help them with their lives. So just any hobby that gives you balance in your life, and it can't be all work, it can't be all teeth. You've got to find something that provides you happiness and really feeds your soul. that would be my answer to that.
And then it looks like we have one more, Dr. Bloink. It says, why does Heartland Dental use DISC, and have you seen positive results from it?
Oh my gosh, yeah, we use DISC every single day, and it is part of the culture of our company. And it's one of, we call it the 5 rocks. It's one of the 5 rocks of our company. It's part of the communications system that we use, and it's incredibly important to really learn and master the personality types, that you can recognize the different people that you are working with, or the people that you're dealing with every single day. And so it's something that we at Heartland Dental take very seriously. We've been working on those things. We're certainly not perfect, but we work really hard at trying to get just a little bit better every single day, to not just create a better work life, but to create better lives for everybody who comes in contact with us. So, go online, grab the resources that are available to you there online, and learn more about personality sets.
And I would say too, from a practical standpoint, the reason we utilize this specifically is because it is very approachable. So for you as a leader in your practice, it's easy for you to learn about it and lead with it. But it's also something, when you think about patient advocacy, it's something very approachable to team members, and that they can learn and enhance their communication with your patients as well.
Absolutely.
And then again, enhancing and really making their lives better by giving them the tools that help them to grow and connect in a more meaningful way. And so it is a tool. There are so many out there, like we mentioned, none are bad. This is one that is just very easy to understand and digest, and is very powerful. We found the perfect marriage of both, where it's easy and it's very useful for us as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We're at about the last 30 seconds of tonight's webinar. We always try to keep these around 1 hour to be conscious of everyone's time. So we finished just in the nick of time, and I would like to thank everyone for participating on tonight's webinar, and certainly express our gratitude to our speakers tonight. And we just thank Heartland Dental for your continued support of ASDA, and we're so fortunate to have 2 members of their team on our webinar tonight. So please note that this webinar is recorded, and we are eager to get you out the recording so you can re-listen to it, share it with your classmates and your colleagues, and do share it. We do encourage you guys to send out the recording so that the information does get out to as many classmates as possible. We know that time is of the essence, as everyone will be in class, and they've got, again, like Dr. Bloink said, that work-life balance. So we want to cater to that. So please share this with your colleagues and classmates, and we hope that you will join us for our next group of webinars, which will be in August 27th through the 31st will be ASDA's Career Week, and we look forward to having our friends at Heartland Dental back that week for some more webinars. So thank you so much again for tonight, and we wish everyone a happy and safe upcoming weekend.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, everyone.